Hey y'all, it's Chrissy from the ChrissyOShow.com and Chrissy Clucky Chronicles here on the YouTube channel. So I just want to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for following, doing all the cool things. We appreciate y'all so very much. Now let's go ahead and get started. And I want to say, hey y'all, hey chicken enthusiasts, all the wonderful pecking crew. Welcome. Remember I told you we were talking about all of these hatching episodes. We did all the videos ahead of time for like preparing you up to the dates of hatching actual babies. So I hope you had a chance or opportunity to go and look at those. It's pretty cool. So go see how we can help you get prepared when you're thinking about wanting to start your own flock. You can do it. It's easy. So anyway, we're going to dive beak. Just keep on diving beak first into everything. Backyard chicken, backyard quail, and backyard duck. All right. So now today I told you guys we were going to talk about a topic. It's completely fascinating and essential for anybody who plans to incubate their own fertilized eggs, which is candling. That's right. We're going to illuminate the secrets hidden inside these wonderful, fragile little eggshells. Pun intended on that one, okay? Candling. So now, what exactly is it? I've talked about it before on previous videos, but let me see if I can paint a different picture for y'all. Because so many people have asked me, what is candling? Why do we do it? Here you go. So just imagine that you're a detective, all right? And your case involves a tiny developing little life, all right? So candling is like using a special flashlight or a bright flashlight just to take a peek inside the egg without opening it, okay? So we're going to use that bright light source in a very darkened room to shine through the eggshell. Now this is going to allow us to see what's happening on the inside or what's not happening on the inside, okay? It's going to let you know if it's a developing embryo, just a yolk, or something way less desirable, okay? Now, why do we do candling? Why are we doing it? Well, it ain't just for fun, I can tell y'all that. It's pretty daggone cool, but it ain't just for fun, okay? So candling helps us do many multiple things. It's like when mothers go to the doctors to get that first ultrasound to see if they can see a heartbeat, to see if they can see a little embryo forming in there. We're doing the same thing with our fertilized chicken eggs, okay? Same thing. So the candling process, number one, it's going to help us check for fertility. We want to know if the eggs are actually going to be growing into little chicks, all right? You can see on the inside of that with that very bright light. It's also good for monitoring the development because although, we can see that the embryo is progressing and kind of ensuring it's on the right track, it's hard to tell in the early phases, but in the later phases, something may happen and we may end up with a blood ring or no further development, which you need to know. So you're going to check for fertility, monitor for development. The next thing you're going to do is you definitely want to identify infertile eggs or dead eggs because you want to always remove those duds. And removing the duds, it's going to prevent them from like rotting, possibly exploding, which we actually had that happen to us last year. I think I have mention of it on one of the videos from last year. So you don't want them to rot or contaminate, your incubator. That's going to harm, your other developing chicks or any chicks that are already hatched and one decides, hey, I'm going to explode now. You want to weed those out early and get rid of it. Okay, so candling, it just does so many things for us. And not only that, but it's a pretty cool educational tool and experience when you get to watch the different phases of the miracle of life unfold with your chickens because they go from day 1 all the way to hatch day on day 21. I don't candle any potential hatching chicks 3 days before lockdown. So around day 17, I stop candling. As long as there's movement on day 17 and I don't pick up the egg or bother it or disturb it, and I can just set the flashlight at the fat part of the egg, just by lifting the incubator lid up and seeing that it's got some movement, and the egg will generally start shaking a little bit. I leave it alone because I know I'm probably going to get a pip and a potential baby out of that. So now, I'll kind of want to get down to the nitty gritty a little bit because, you got the 21 days of candling, and yes, you can see a lot of forms of life in the further phases. But me personally, for what we do, I start candling around 7 days. And the reason why is because I need to see the veining. There's not really a whole lot going on in the what I call pre-candling phase. So from day 1 to 6, there's just not a lot to see in the early days. The yolks and the whites, they're still relatively uniform, and I really don't see anything in particular. Sometimes you may get a vein or two on day 6, but normally if you leave them alone and you start candling them by day 7, you're really going to start to see some veins and see some action. So, I try to handle things gently in those first day 1 to 6 because of the fact I don't want to keep getting them in and out of the incubator for too long, because I want those first solid steps of life to really happen, and I want that incubator to be able to do its job between days 1 and 6. All right, so I leave them alone. I let the incubator and the temperatures and all the humidity and the things that egg needs, I let it do its thing from day 1 to 6. I call that the pre-candling phase. I leave it alone. That's just me. I leave it alone. So on day 7 is when I really take my first peek. And that's going to basically tell me if the egg is fertile. Now you're going to see a tiny little spider web of blood vessels. They kind of radiate from a little central port of what would be the developing embryo. So look for a small dark spot with visible, those blood vessels kind of radiating out from it. That's what I call a spider or crown of blood vessels. And you can literally see the development going. You can literally actually physically see that. And that's why I like to start on day 7. I put them back. I leave them alone again. Let them do their thing in the incubator. And then I don't touch them again until day 10. Because at this point, that embryo is growing so fast, so rapidly, that I'm going to start to see a larger dark mass, more prominent blood vessels, and the air cell at the blunt end, the fat end of the egg, it's going to be way more defined. Now, I will leave them alone after day 10, because day 10, you're going to say, a more defined embryo, air cell. It's going to start floating around a little bit. You'll be able to actually see it move, the heartbeat, those types of things. Okay. So I leave it alone day 10. After I candle day 10, I'm moving on to day 14. Okay. Now on day 14, you're going to notice that the egg feels very heavy at this point, and the embryo is pretty big. It's very big, and it's going to fill up pretty much most of the egg. All right. The blood vessels are very visible. You're going to see more movement. Sometimes, depending on where the chick is on the inside of that egg, sometimes it'll kind of go towards the light a little bit, and you'll be able to see an outline of the eye and the beak and that kind of thing. It's pretty cool. So you're going to be looking for a large dark mass. It's going to fill up most of the egg, strong blood vessels, and possibly some movement, not all the time because they sleep too, but you could see some fluttering around in there and some little movement. You couldn't feel it in your hand. So day 14, that's the deal. Now I told you I don't candle beyond day 17 because I go into lockdown on day 18. But if you wanted to candle on day 18, that's your last chance to candle. You need to leave them alone. So when you're candling on day 18, That's your last day before you have to start your lockdown. Now, what lockdown means is once you're beyond the candling phase, you're lock down your incubator. It doesn't mean you actually put a physical lock on it. It means you're going to spritz the eggs. You're going to take the egg turner out, and you're going to let the chicks do the rest, because you spritz the eggs in there, kind of signals to them, hey, you're on lockdown now. You should start moving and pipping and blah, blah, so on and so forth, little babies. So on day 18, the chick's going to feel the entire egg, and the air sac's going to be very large, okay? You might see the chick moving. You might not see nothing because it's going to be so super dark in there, but it's going to be a full-size chick, and a large air sac, okay? Now, that's all I'm going to do with that. I'm not going to take that part any further, because we're going to have some hatching and pipping videos coming up soon for you guys to be able to see. So, day 18, if you absolutely must see the baby on the inside of the egg, then do it extremely carefully. All right? Moving on. Now, let's talk about what we don't want to see when we're candling. In any, phase beyond day 7, you should start seeing what we talked about before. Veins, chicks, movement, that kind of thing. What you don't want to see is a clear egg. That means it's infertile. The egg remains completely clear throughout the incubation period. It's likely infertile. Now, a lot of times what I will do is I will wait until day 14, and I will start removing the clear eggs, because there's nothing there. It's going to be rotten. You don't want it to swell up and go boom. Okay, that's bad, because then you get egg parts everywhere, and it's just gross, and then you've contaminated your incubator. Clear eggs, infertile. Got it? Good. Now we have blood rings. A blood ring is just a red thick ring around the inside of the egg. It just indicates the baby started developing, but for whatever reason it just died early. So you want to get rid of those too. If you see a dark mass with no veins, and there's no visible blood vessels, veins, anything at all, that means that your baby's probably died. And you can move the egg, and it'll kind of ugh, you know what I mean? It's just nothing is there. So the last thing is, you really don't want, we call those the bangers or the poppers. If the egg's dark, and when you kind of shake it a little bit, you can kind of hear it sloshing around, it's more than likely rotten, and it's going to be a banger or a popper. That's what happened to us last year when the thing exploded on us. So you really don't want that. You need to remove it immediately. Be very careful when handling it. I usually like to take a plastic cup, put a paper towel in the bottom of the cup, and put that banger or popper in there. Take it outside, chunk it in the woods, and immediately when it hits the ground, you can hear it. It'll pop. All right, now, here's some tips for you, just so you'll have it, okay? Make sure that you have a dedicated candling light or a bright LED flashlight that you use consistently. Don't be changing flashlights around back and forth, because that can mess you up for, you might think you see something, but you didn't see something. You get another flashlight, just be consistent with that. Avoid using any type of high heat bulbs, because that can damage your egg and it can damage your embryo. Okay, so use LEDs they don't get hot. Okay, make sure when you're candling, you're going to candle in a dark room for the best visibility. All right, because we're doing egg ultrasound type things here using light. Okay, make sure that you're handling the eggs gently and quickly, and make sure your hands are very clean. I always wash and dry my hands very well before I'm handling the eggs. All right, if you want to keep a candling log, you can. I don't, because I'm pretty sharp with understanding what egg did what and blah blah, so on and so forth. But if you want to keep a candling log, you can, to track your progress of each little egg. And then after you're handling the eggs, make sure you're washing your hands again. Okay, remember, because they're unwashed eggs, and you want to make sure you don't have any bacteria or anything on you, because it can happen. You're dealing with poultry here. Okay, do not turn your eggs after day 18. That's the lockdown period. Okay, And I'm going to leave you guys with this little tidbit of information. All right. Just know that candling, it's educational, it's fun, it's a wonderful way to connect with just that cute miracle of little life happening right in your own little egg that you got from your backyard, or you ordered fertilized eggs, or your farm buddy had fertilized eggs. You're doing it, okay? You're incubating them. It's just, candling is just a little skill. It might take a little practice for you, but once you get the hang of it and you understand what you're looking at and you know what you're looking for, you're really going to be so amazed at what you see. It's just super fun. I always enjoy that part of the process, okay? Now, the next couple of videos we're going to be watching, we're going to be talking about lockdown periods. We're going to be talking about pipping, and we're going to be talking about hatching and the miracle of chicken birth. Okay, so, also, and quail birth too. So we're going to be doing that too, because I do have an incubator full of quails. Not for sure you guys realize that or not, but if you didn't, go back and watch all the other episodes so you don't miss out on it, okay? All right, y'all. That is completely it for this candling episode. I hope you learned a thing or two or three or whatever you know about candling your eggs. And just remember, if you have any questions, just leave a comment, reach out to me on social media, and I hope all your babies hatch, every last one of them. I hope you have some really good eggs, and I hope they turn out exactly like you want them. All right, so this is Chrissy O from Chrissy O's Clucky Chronicles and ChrissyOShow.com. Just reminding you, don't forget to sign up for the weekly blogs. Those comes out every Monday on the website. The monthly newsletter, that comes out monthly. Yes, we have so many things in there. There's tons of things on the website, including a few free little chicken games that I've just loaded up there. Don't forget to watch that and have some fun. Got family recipes, all different types of things, and the bios of the pecking crew is on there for, just for fun. We also added a couple of friends' pictures up there so you can go see some of our friends that we like to support and have a good time with in the farming community. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.